it makes sense that that a person who is authentic draws the right type of people towards them, right? And I think that's what most people want. We want people who want to be around us. We don't want people who fake. We don't want people who lie to us just to be close to us. We want people to be who they are in their truth and know, okay, I know if I can trust you, if I know I can. Welcome back to Relationship Wives. What's good, family? This is your boy Terrell. If you're new here, I hope you enjoy it. We're going to get into authenticity. We're going to build on different topics about staying true to self, things like that. You know what I'm saying? So we're about to get into it, man. If you're new here, by the end of this video, we hope to earn your subscribership. You feel me? Go ahead and subscribe at the end if you really feeling it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, let's get into it, right? So let's talk a bit about authenticity, y'all. Authenticity means staying true to who you are and embracing your values, expressing yourself honestly. And here are a couple ways or a few ways to be authentic. All right. So one of the ways is knowing and embracing your values, right? Understanding your core beliefs and your principles and reflect on what truly matters to you and aligns to your actions with these values, right? So for me, for example, I'm extremely pro-Black, right? That's one of my core values. And being pro-Black, it doesn't mean I'm anti anything, but I'm so pro-Black that anything that doesn't really support that value, I somehow tend to kind of neglect and not belittle or anything like that. But I always say to myself, if this ain't my vibe, why am I even trying? Why am I trying to be something I know I'm not? Because I value what it is to be Black so much that it makes sense for me to stand on that. You feel me? That's a core value of mine. Um, it's like a lot of people will, or another example of that is I'm also a naturalist, meaning I don't really like things that aren't a part of nature or a natural way of healing, right? So I'll take more herbs than actual medication. I'll reach more for like a herbal tea or something like that, or I'll reach for some magnesium before I go try to find like for pain relief or to go to sleep. Then I'll try to get something like a melatonin and things like that, right? I try to stick more to something that's more natural than things that aren't natural because I'm a naturalist. You feel me? That's my inclination. That's part of my value system. I really value things that are more natural than things that are synthetic, so to speak. You feel me? Um, and one of the ways that we value and we're interested and we have principled around things that we like and enjoy is just owning it. You feel me? A lot of times people are always try to go around being and operating like what everybody else is doing. And I'm like, nah, bro, stand on the principles that you stand on. Stand on the ideas and concepts that you stand on because that's what makes you unique. That's what makes you you. A lot of times we are inauthentic because we're trying to go along with the get along. And it's like, why do that? Just be yourself. You know what I'm saying? So another point about values and interests, right? Um, Part of what it is to even be Black or just to be a person who's principled, you got to understand your VIPs. Shout out to Dr. Kaba. He's the one who always says this. Your VIPs are your values, your interests, and your principles, right? Whenever somebody either wants to oppress you or take things away from you or try to sidetrack you from being your authentic self, they take away your values, your interests, and your principles, right? So you got to learn to figure out, what are my values? What do I value mostly? What am I mostly interested in? What benefits me, my culture, my people, my way of life? And just makes me a better person and wants to be more of the person that I need to be. You know what I'm saying? And the principles that I stand on, right? Am I fundamentally more Christian or more Muslim, or do I believe morality comes from the Bible or a religious context, or is it something that human beings have to learn to do themselves? Right? Where do your principles lie, and where do they come from? When you begin to stand on those, as opposed to trying to do what an outside force is telling you to do, right? Those principles become easier for you to accept, one, and makes you more authentic. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, just something to consider. You feel me? Right? And another part of authenticity clearly is not feeling the pressure to conform to others' expectations, right? If they don't align with who you are, then you don't really have to worry about that, right? It's all about self acceptance, which I feel in today's day and age, a lot of people are looking for acceptance in all the wrong places, right? I'm not saying that we as human beings don't want acceptance, but I prefer the concept of belonging. Acceptance is I have to meet an outside criteria in order to be a part of something. Belonging is this this organization, this community, this idea was made with a person like myself in mind, and I rather join with this group, organization, or so on. You know what I mean? An example of that, I guess, would be like a fraternity or sorority or things like that, right? They were made with a certain interest group of people, in mind. So why not go with that sorority or fraternity? Excuse me, I'm over here tripping. But yeah, that sorority or fraternity, right? They were made like the divine now, like an alpha, being an alpha or being a kappa or being what have you, the black Greek, so to speak. Shout out to the divine now one time for the one time. Um, that was made for black people specifically because a lot of the white sororities and fraternities didn't really accept black people at that time. You feel me? So, and even a lot of them still don't even really rock with us like that. But they were made for black people's belonging. You know what I mean? So yeah, just an idea to consider. Stop looking for acceptance and try to figure out a way to belong. You know what I mean? Step 2 is speak and act honestly, right? Which is a lot easier said than done, right? It's best to be honest with yourself and others and share your thoughts and feelings and opinions openly, even if they're not popular or easy, right? Avoid pretending or putting on a facade to fit in. Being truthful in your interactions builds trust and confidence in who you are, right? So clearly, like I said, this is always easier said than done, right? But when you speak honestly, people know where you stand, right? I don't really particularly like Donald Trump as a person per se. Granted, I don't know him like that for real, but I respect his honesty. See, when people are honest and authentic with who they really are, and they show that to you, one, you don't have to repaint them as someone they're not, because everybody's always playing the game of being inauthentic or lying or scheming to get their way. With a person like Donald Trump, you know exactly who you're getting. You know exactly who he is because he just shows it. And in a lot of ways, it's like, all right, I might not like you, but I can at least respect that. Okay, you overt in your craziness. You overt in the way you talk, and you overt and ridiculous in some of the shit you say. But at the same time, I know exactly who you are. And in being who you are, I can actually say, okay, I can choose not to respect that. Hell, let's take it to the dating world. Most women, even though they don't like when men are assholes, or they don't like when men are super straightforward, they sometimes respect the guy who is direct with them and says exactly what he wants, right? Like, women will prefer a man who says, hey, look, I'm only here for a good time, not a long time. I just want to, you know what I'm saying? I just want to get it in or whatever. Because at least she now knows, okay, this is what he's here for. So I don't got to play the game. I don't have to try to figure him out. You know what I mean? There's a beauty of being authentic. Again, it ain't gonna always work for everybody. Being honest and speaking your truth isn't gonna get you liked, right? But it does help put you into perspective into people's lives, so you know how well you fit and how well you don't, right? And that's speaking and acting honestly, really and truly, which is crazy because a lot of times we think as human beings that we kind of got to lie and scheme, we got to lie and finesse, and we got to say and do all these extra things to be liked and to be received. But funny enough, the people who are most honest somehow they know that the people who are in their corner are in their corner because they're true, they're authentic to who they are, even if it might seem morally wrong, or even if it might be seem principally off, so to speak, right? Not to contradict earlier, but just to some of this point, it makes sense that a person who is authentic draws the right type of people towards them, right? And I think that's what most people want. We want people who want to be around us. We don't want people who fake. We don't want people who lie to us just to be close to us. We want people to be who they are in their truth and know, okay, I know if I can trust you, if I know I can't. I want to know your thoughts enough to know that you are solid, principled, and we have similar ideas and concepts that we can agree on. You feel me? So yeah, I mean, and hell, that makes for a good relationship. Makes for a good marriage. All that, and knowing and being authentic with your partner also helps keep the relationship uh fair. See, if my wife kind of knows some of the foods and some of the things that I don't eat, right? And I know some of the foods and some of the things that she might not eat too. So we don't tempt each other with things that we don't like. If I know, like for example, I don't eat pork. My wife don't try to make pork for me to eat. You feel me? It makes that dialogue easier once we're open and we're honest about the things that we like and don't like and the things that we're clear on and things like that. All right. So the next thing about being authentic is embracing vulnerability. Now, vulnerability is a tough one, I think, especially for men, right? Because vulnerability comes from the concept of military science where, being vulnerable means being open to about your weaknesses specifically, right? And as men, I don't think we necessarily want to be open about our weaknesses, but we have to be more aware of them. And with some of the people we love, we have to be able to tell them our weaknesses and how we're working on them. You know what I mean? Because sometimes I know a lot of dudes always say opening up to women is not the best idea. And a part I can kind of agree, but opening up to the right woman I think is beneficial. And you got to know and have discernment about who that person may be and who you can open up to, because everybody isn't equal in knowing how to have tact and respect you just genuinely, right? So embracing vulnerability, right? Authenticity often requires vulnerability. Being open about your imperfections, your mistakes, and insecurities, right? This shows courage and helps you form deeper connections with others, right? I was listening to Simon Sinek, right? I hope I'm saying his name right. Dope author, the author of Leaders Eat Last. I think he owns the Optimism Company. Really, really dope dude. He says one of the best ways to build trust with a person is to tell them the problems that you have in your life, right? It's to have them literally trust you by you coming to them for help, right? Which is interesting because you would think that when people trust you, it's based fundamentally on you helping them, right? But it's the opposite. The way you build trust with people is, hey, I have a problem, and then they in turn kind of come to you, or when you go to them, they like, oh wow, this person can be open and honest and vulnerable about the things that they're going through without me having to ask them or beg them, so to speak, or you know, them trying to shy away or not be clear about how they feel. And we pick up on that energy. We pick up on the ideas of how people feel really and truly, like, so it's important to show and tell people really and truly how you're feeling about some of your imperfections and some of your insecurities, right? For me, I think one of my things that I'm very, very clear on, especially about being vulnerable, is I openly tell people my mistakes. I be like, look, I can't do that. You know what I mean? When I need help, I tell people directly, like, yo, I need help. I am not too proud to ask for help. I don't know how to do that. Hey, look, I messed this up. Can you help me? You know what I mean? And a lot of times, yes, people do somehow make fun of that, which is part of being okay with your vulnerability. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna be real with you. Like, I'd rather be the person who is okay with making a mistake and letting people know and them making fun of me, because then at least I could correct it and move forward. It's a lot of people who aren't even willing to make a mistake, who aren't willing to fail, who aren't willing to try and be better because they feel like their way is the best way. And it's like, nah, half the time when you open yourself up to acknowledging the mistakes, you can actually find a better path than you could have ever created by yourself. And by asking for that help and knowing like, yo, there's multiple ways to skin this cat. There's multiple ways to solve this problem. So being open, especially about mistakes, is low key like an infinity stone, low key. Like, but you also got to be comfortable with what comes with it. And I think a lot of people are too prideful to admit when they've done something wrong, especially parents, right? I think parents would have greater relationships with their kids had they just been open about their mistakes. You know what I mean? One of the things, I love my mom. I love her dearly. You know what I mean? But one of the things that used to annoy me or piss me off a lot, and I think it's just a principle thing, is whenever she'd make a mistake, right? She would say sorry, but she would say it in a way that's like, ha, ha, just go ahead and forgive me. She didn't say it. She never said those words, go ahead and forgive me. But that's how it felt when it came out. You know what I mean? However, whenever I did something wrong and I apologized, it didn't sit right with her. Almost like the apology wasn't enough. She wanted even more. So that level one of her not apologizing and it seeming genuine or almost wanting immediate forgiveness, right, threw me for a loop, because it's like, nah, like you actually made a mistake and you operate sometimes like, not that you could be perfect, but like it, just because your mistake was genuine, it wasn't a mistake or it didn't hurt, it still hurt. You know what I mean? And again, this is my mom. I love her. And this happened when I was like maybe 8 or 9. And I was just like, you over here laughing about a mistake you made. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And it's like, yeah, but you was just about to beat us. Like we was about to have real consequences, yo. And if, to me, in my opinion, had she just said, I'm really sorry about that. I didn't mean that, it would have felt better. You know what I mean? And just acknowledging that mistake in a more sincere and serious way, right? Because I think it was sincere, but I wanted it to feel serious. I wanted it to feel authentic. You know what I mean? And it threw me for a loop. And I guess the second part about that was maybe some slight hypocrisy. And parents just got to understand that as long as the more clear and authentic you are and true you are to yourself, the more true and clear you show up to your children. I think a lot of times parents are, especially them Gen X parents, I think a lot of them grew up believing that you can't make a mistake or everything has to be a certain way or you have to go along with it, get along, and good enough should be good enough. And it's like, no, like there were ways for things to be better. There were ways for you to be better. And not wanting that better and settling for mediocrity in whatever capacity in life, it made a lot of us, specifically millennials and potentially Gen Z, depending on that generation too. It made us feel like, dang, when you apologize and when you make a mistake, it's almost the end of the world because, everything always had to be kind of surfacey, and everything had to just be good enough. And it's like, no, when you make a mistake, apologize for it and try your best to correct it. You know what I mean? I think because they grew up in such a let's go along with the get along and everything should just be fine, they swept them feelings right under the rug is the point I'm making. Right. And it's like, no, like acknowledge the pain that you may have caused. You know what I mean? Whether you're a parent or otherwise, but acknowledge the pain or the mistake that you made and make sure that the person who hears the apology knows that it's genuine. You feel me? That will help people see you as being way more authentic. You know what I mean? And I just feel like especially when it comes to mistakes, insecurities we all have, imperfections we clearly all have. But when you're open about those things and understanding them, your authenticity just shows, and people are more trusting and open with you, especially those who are so used to people being so ego driven and pretending like there's nothing wrong. Like, no, the more open you're about some of your fears, your shortcomings, your insecurities, etc., the more people are like, all right, let's actually build with this person because we know where they are mentally and how they might feel low. Let's build that up, right? The right people, at least, right? Yeah. The next part of being authentic or embracing your vulnerability and authenticity is recognize that being your true self may come with risks, right? But it also brings freedom and genuine relationships. What did I just say? Right? What did I just say? It's facts though. It comes with those risks of looking crazy to other people. But it's also like, I'll be honest. I want to look crazy to the wrong people. I want to look crazy to majority of people because majority of people are average. I don't want nothing about me to be average, keep it or being with you. So if I got to do something that's outside of the average to be great, I'm with it. I'm with all that. You feel me? So when people are like, "Oh, you look crazy," I want to look crazy to a normal person because what I'm doing and what I'm pursuing is that level of greatness. So yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with not looking like amazing to regular people. I want to look crazy in their eyes so that once I actually become the greatest version of myself and I'm comfortable with me and the right people are around me, we good. You feel me? Hell, we're great. You feel me? We with God, you know what I'm saying? So that's just my mindset about being authentic and embracing your vulnerability within it, you know? Um I want to get into something really quickly before I clock out and actually got to go to work. Excuse me. So this whole Tyreek Hill situation has got me thinking about Black people, and there's a new segment I want to try on the podcast about Black news. Y'all let me know down in the comments before I get started. Do y'all think I should add a Black segment to the podcast? Because I feel like a Black news segment is hella needed. I'm hella pro Black, so it just makes sense. 2 + 2 makes 4. But y'all put down in the comments, let me know. All right. So yeah, this whole Tyreek Hill situation is interesting to me because like I seen, the cops pull him out his car outside of the Dolphin Stadium. For those who don't know, I live in Miami, basically. I'm close enough to Miami. I was born there. I was raised in the surrounding areas. So when I seen the whole Tyreek Hill situation, it threw me off because I'm like, fine, they might not have known who he was, but he's literally outside of the Dolphin Stadium or the Hard Rock Stadium, whatever, where he plays. He's in a nice car. He tells them who he is, and they pull him out of the whip. And I say, yo, like, okay, fair. He might have been able to say something that was a little bit better, but the way in which they handled him was ridiculous, family. Ridiculous. What are you talking about? Anybody who saw that and said that the police were justifiably right is crazy. There's no reason for a Black man in 2024 to be dragged out of a car when he's going home before a game because he's in a nice whip or whatever the officer might have thought. Like, fair. You may not know who he is, but if he's outside of a football stadium and he's potentially a football player and there was no just cause for actually taking him out the car, why y'all taking this man out of the car? And side note, I hope I can find the clip. I pray I can find the clip. One of the Dolphins, I think it's the defensive coach. Why they put that Black man on TV? Why they put bruh ass on fucking TV, y'all? I'm sorry, I don't mean to be screaming in the listener's ear. If I can find the clip, I'll make sure I add it to both the audio and the visual. This man said, a Black man who's like in his 40s, 50s, right? This man said, and I quote, "I'm so happy that I married a Mexican woman and had lighter children." I said, nigga, what? What type of corny shit is you on? What are you talking about? Why as Black people, whenever something bad happens to us, we always try to let the police off or let that perpetrator off easy? What kind of soft, weak, dumb, and lame excuse of a man are you to not acknowledge what the police did is wrong? Black people we gotta stand up and we gotta do better than this, man. Ain't no way bruh got on TV and said that and thought that shit was cool. That shit wasn't cool. That shit was lame as hell. Look, when police do something wrong, they gotta be held accountable just like anybody else. I'm not advocating violence and thinking that, police they're all right and all cops are bad. I don't believe that garbage. But when police are wrong, they got to be called out. Just like the foolishness that's going on in our community got to be called out. But wrong got to be called the fuck out. And when the police do wrong, in this Tyreek Hill situation, it was wrong. You feel me? Why is this Black man as the Dolphins defensive coordinator? I don't even remember Brett's name. Why is he getting on TV talking about, oh, I'm just so happy that my kids are lighter skinned? Lighter skinned, my boy? Hey, look, bro. If you soft and weak, bro, don't talk for Black people. Keep that dumb shit to yourself. We stand on principle around here. You feel me? Yeah, I'm gonna get off my soapbox in a second. You feel me? Yeah, but yeah, man, I really feel like what they did was unfair to Tyreek, straight up and down. There's no other way to look at it. And I feel like as a people, we have to do better at standing up for our people, standing up against racism, standing up against bullshit. I kind of want to get into the whole shits and gigs thing. But I feel like I'll save that for probably next week because I actually got to go in the next few minutes. But this is your boy. I'm signing out. I love y'all. If you enjoy, go ahead and subscribe.